When there's no more hope is left in me, I can see what comes my way.
Not everybody in church is a Christian. Judas Iscariot. Some people are used to say, but I found a sister in church. Not Judas Iscariot was in church too. Some people used to blame the church. I married in church. The man was even an usher. Judas was the treasurer. I married in church. Why should I? And I married in church. No. You cannot blame God for your insensitivity. You cannot blame God for your lack of perception. You can't blame God for lack of discernment. Not everybody in the barrack is a soldier. Some are relations of soldiers. Some went to sell things there. Some went to look for a job. You see some people coming to church. One man went to church and pretended that he was a Christian because he wanted to find a good Christian girl. So he pretended, just changed his behavior. And, how are you? I'm fine. Then he didn't know that there was a girl who also came to church, pretended that she was a Christian, and wanted to find a good Christian man she can marry, and he can do anything he wants, and the man won't say anything. He's a good Christian. So, how are you? The man found the sister, and they found each other. They kept on acting until they married. On the first day they reached the house, the man sent for a bottle of beer. I think the girl carried cigarette. The man said, "You are like that?" He said, "Me too, I didn't know you are like this." That first day they beat the hell out of each other. You deceive me, you too. That was very wonderful. I like that. You came to deceive people to marry a deceiver. Another person deceived you and married you. Deceiver versus deceivee. Never you marry with the mind of, this is not who I wanted to marry you. Please. Please. Because it is signature for failure from the start. Marry who you love. God can never force you to marry whom you don't love. Can I go on? It has been said, but let me reinforce it. Don't marry out of pity or sympathy. Don't pity anybody. So let me just marry her. She has suffered too much. Let me just marry him. Everybody has been saying no, no, no to him. Let me rescue him from this. That is, you hit the road. You know what they said? You hit the road running. You hit the road failing. That kind of marriage. Can I say another thing to you? Never marry anybody who feels they deserve somebody better than you. Say it again. Never marry anybody who thinks they are doing you a favor for marrying you. Never marry anybody who believe they are too good for you. No. Marry somebody who values you well. Value you correct. Woman, marry somebody who is actually chasing you. Not chasing you for immorality. Oh. He is after you. Because it is that pursuit that will continue in the course of the marriage. Are you ready to hear this? Don't marry anybody you had to encourage to marry you. You had to encourage him. Go ahead. Just go ahead. Let's just go ahead. You had to encourage her. From the scratch, you failed. As I am talking now, many of us are going to understand the reason why there is so much failure around you. Never manage to marry.
To put anything on the pot, there is no need flaming up the fires and raising the hope of a young lady and making her believe that you are interested in her. If you are not interested to marry and you know that that is what is on her mind, stay away. Don't follow her to her house. You are eating rice and spaghetti and indomie and everything, and then at the end of the day you come and present somebody else to her that this is who you want to marry. There is a right timing. If that is not, stay away from her and face your life until it is time to marry. Hallelujah. Now let me tell you, young men, there is a way you are just hanging around a young lady. In your mind, though, you are just friends. In your mind, it's just a good venue for rice in the evening. That's all that's in your mind. But for a young lady, that is not what is in her mind. You ate the food and said, this is so delicious. My goodness, I haven't seen anybody cook indomie like this before. How do you do it? And the girl's hope is rising because that means she's a good cook that is being a potential wife. Hallelujah. There is a right timing for everybody. Young lady, enough of the guy you have been making. If the man asks you to marry him, you don't need to carry it to your friends or your distant auntie and uncle and cousin and relation. They are also waiting for their own time. And who are you that somebody should come? They will definitely discourage you. Your first point of call is not your friends. It's not your neighbor. It's not that other sister that is your prayer partner. Your first point of call is God. Lord, is this the person? And then you take your time. What have you been taught? What have you understood as per it takes to arrive at who you are to marry? And then you make a decision on time. Stop beating around the bush.
My mom was a single parent. And before she died, while she was on the hospital bed, I was with her. And then she looked me in the eye and she said, because she already knew I had a passion for ministry. And she said, as you preach, please tell every young girl they have no reason to be single mothers. And I believe that hearing the question, and I didn't say anything, I just felt like, she said to me again, one of her final words, she said, every child needs a father. And if Adam was not necessary, God would have created Eve alone. We understand the challenges especially with the 21st century we are in, knowing that there are fathers who are useless, there are fathers who are not worth it, there are men who are serial heartbreakers. But it still doesn't take away the fact that this is the way God has designed our families to thrive. He might be a stupid man, but he remaining in that house is a major lesson for the children. He might not be the man you want him to be, but his voice, each time he raises it in the house, leaves an impression for your children. We know there are ones that are very silly, they don't live up to expectation. But notice very carefully, Even among the Jews, in which the Bible, the milieu of the Bible was crafted from, the Lord leaves a responsibility to the Jewish fathers that every Friday evening they were supposed to be blessing their children. That is where the milieu of the Bible were crafted from. And then I keep asking a question. You have a home where there is no father. My mom's greatest pain was that her children didn't turn out well, because there is something a woman can do and there is what a man can do. It's not just about having sex. It's not just about doing that. But there's something that she tried to do everything. She was the counselor. She was the provider. She was the one that broke down. By the way, she died of heart failure, because she tried to do everything. She was the mother. She was the father. She was the counselor. She was everything. When we were angry, we poured it out on her. When we were frustrated, we poured it out on her. It might look very fashionable to be a single mother right now, but 10 years after now, would you still be proud that I took the right step? 20 years after now, will your children may not tell you, but there were times when we were mentally abused. We went out there to play with other children and they just threw a word at us, go and call your father, and all that. Because I knew it made my mother cry all the time. Whenever I come back and ask her, who is my father? She would just break down and start crying. I never bothered to ask her all that question, but I knew how mentally scarred I was until I started growing up. So please let us put these things in proper perspective. Please, I also want to reiterate again, no matter what men have done to you, please, there is always a man somewhere that will make you smile. And I want you to pray into it, and I want you to believe it. And the last thing I want to share, which is a question that they've already answered, is about my marriage. When I got married newly, marriage was hell. Very hell. If there's something called the heller than hell, that was exactly how my marriage was. One day I was praying and I was telling God, you know what? This is the end. Let her go her way, let me go my way. She's successful, I am successful, everybody will be fine. God said something to me, and that is what I want to tell you. He said to me, this marriage is not a destination, it is an assignment. And to the extent to which you will solve this assignment will determine your promotion in destiny. When the view of my marriage changed from coming to receive love, coming to make sure she says the right thing, to the place where I have to be giving the love, to the place where I have to be the one saying the right thing, to the place where I don't have to respond to her anger. For every anger, I'm not telling you it was a bed of roses, it was not. Today, I stand to say, and I mean, my wife is one of the sweetest person you would ever meet. She was not like this. She was not like this. But God had to bring me to the place where I saw that marriage as an assignment. And the day I saw my assignment, our assignments come differently. Short essays, objective questions, this one and that one. Different, we all have our assignment. But first of all, change the mindset that this is my assignment, and your approach to your marital issues will change. Thank you very much.
Life in a world that keeps changing. Think that it's progress you're making. Copy and paste pretty faces all the time.